Hi, everyone. Your Royal Highness, thank you for joining us. You are a do-gooder. You try and advance, you push boundaries to make the world a little bit more equitable, a little bit fairer, and a little bit greener. Talk to us now about what initiatives you're putting in place that work, because a lot of the initiatives take a longer time. So what are you focusing on right now?
First of all, thank you very much for having me here, and I'm really grateful for such an opportunity. Well, talking about one initiative will be very hard, but let's talk about one areas of focus. So our foundation is working in 180 countries around the world. We work in 5 areas of focus, which is community development, goes under it health, education, infrastructure, empowering women and youth, and we lean heavily toward the creative economical empowerment. We work in providing vital disaster relief in time of crisis. We work in bridging gap between Islam and West and promoting for acceptance, tolerance, and understanding. And we work in promoting healthier environment. But from our talk, briefly, a while ago, I think empowering women would be very interesting for you. So in empowering women, as I said before, I think we need to pay a respect for each and every community and understand the need and what's suitable for each and every community to develop people's life and to upgrade their skills or reskill them. You need to take your time and survey. You need to have the proper data, and you need to understand more how to benefit those communities and families. Yet, also, moreover, I would say, you need to have your time being in this country. A hit-and-run situation, it's not suitable for a philanthropic act whatsoever. If you want to have an effect on people's life, you need to stay with them minimum of 5 years, just to evaluate and to move forward.
But Princess Lamia, when you look at climate change, I mean, this is probably one of the biggest challenge, if not the biggest challenge of our lifetime. How do you integrate that into everything that you do? Because it's always actually the women and children that suffer the most, even in climate change.
Absolutely. I believe the woman or the mother, I would call for the mother now. When you raise your kid to understand more about the problems happening around the world, slowly but surely, I doubt, honestly, and we were just talking about it, when I actually attended some of the events in COP, whether this one or the one in Egypt. And surprisingly, I didn't meet a lot of youth. It's our age and above. And I don't think this is what's needed to solve this problem, honestly. I believe we need to trust more. We need to give them a clear path for them to achieve and to be beside us. Maybe you can transfer knowledge. Well, I believe, let's be very honest, when we work in places like Africa and a lot of places with the underprivileged family, let's not kid ourselves. Do you think they understand what does it mean, a green job or a green environment? Or no, they don't. They do it because they see a benefit out of it, and they see a better income, a sustainable type of life. But their kids will always follow them in what they're doing. So they will create this mindset as the green jobs or the green buildings, or it's not only on a governmental level that you can help this cause, it's also on an individual level. So I believe I would give the responsibility. What's needed now, it's trust, give the responsibility, give them their KPIs, tell them that at 2030 you need to deliver this in this way, and this is your tools.
And you also use a lot of data to understand, first of all, where it has the most impact, so what benefits when you give money, but also what issues you need to tackle.
Listen, I would say, not only in philanthropy, even in business, to be successful, you need to have your data to assess, to understand where you are and how to move and where to move and when. The 4 W's and H must be answered in any and every equation that you want to solve. For us, data is a key. especially with a foundation that literally works in everything, and with a foundation that wants to make a difference, but in a different way. And it's not only data that really helps, as well of understanding the language of whether the youth, the community, the tradition. You have to respect their tradition, their beliefs, and to work parallel to it, not against it. In philanthropy, there is no a successful project. There is no such a thing called one size fits all. You need to respect and you need to understand what they need, and if you can provide it or not with their way, not yours.
Princess Lamia, when you look at the role of philanthropy, what do you think it is longer term? So is it to give a helping hand to a community that then can sustain itself and you focus on something else? Like, how do you view the timelines of where you decide to invest and focus on?
So, as I said, our 5 areas of focus, but our I would say, how we do our equation, just to ensure the sustainability of the project moving forward. So we have this formula. It's us, it's government, it's international entity, and on-ground partners, NGOs or NPOs. This is a key, because you need to make sure that the project is well delivered upon the need of the country, and you need, after you finish, and as I said, minimum is 3. Some of the project we stay for 10 years with them, just to ensure they're really evolving. So after you get out and after you finish your funding, you need to make sure that you have the buy-in for the government, so they move on and they keep it sustainable, because this is one of the main criteria for our project.
Can you talk to us maybe about something, a personal project that was close to your heart, where you've seen real success, so that other philanthropists also in the room can take away some of the key findings and how they can go and do good?
So I'll give you 2 projects, one on the local level, the domestic level, Saudi level, and I'll give you one on the international level. The Saudi level, in 2014, it wasn't that open and it wasn't that welcome to talk about legal women's rights in Saudi Arabia. So we had this project to create awareness about women's legal rights. And it was literally a kind of impossible to have the freedom to talk to women and, to educate them, tell them on the constitution they have rights and everything. And it was really a very tough thing to do. But we kept it going. It's not only we kept it going, and it started evaluating. We start training lawyers, female lawyers, to practice. Now we have 800 lawyers. It started evolving. Now we train on human rights laws. We have 600 of them are very well trained on human rights laws. Now they're working with the national security, and now it's a kind of a governmental project, because now they're trained on the information law, or the privacy of information. So this is one project in Saudi Arabia. The very much project that I'm extremely proud of is the Nubian Vault. Nubian Vault is a project that we work on in Sub-Saharan Africa. They're using natural resources to build. It's a green building, and it's a green jobs core. We're training masons. Till now, I think we finalized over 7,000 units, houses, and we trained over 600 masons. So I'm very proud of them, honestly. And by the way, Nubian Vault, we have been supporting them for 10 years now.
And how do you work with governments? Again, if a government says, no, I'm not interested, and I hear this from a lot of philanthropists, they say, you're always going to face obstacles. It's how you face those obstacles and try and work around it. Is there a secret sauce in trying to...
It's always agreed from the beginning.
So that
always agreed from the. Don't have the buy-in after. No, it's always.
Make sure you
and we have a very good, putting in mind that our chairman is one of the biggest businessmen in the world. So I believe this has helped, because there is a mutual benefit, not in each and every situation, but I would say it helps a lot. Yeah. It helps a lot get us in.
How would you accelerate the mitigation of climate change right now? When you look at COP. I guess we've seen some achievements, but we could go a lot further. How do you see it through the lens of the community that you try and serve?
I would say it differs from a community to another. I believe, as we talked, I think we have a lot of lost opportunities that we can deliver messages more clear and more accurate. I believe we need to empower this generation. I believe we need to clarify that you can have an individual action, and it will be counted as an action to help your planet. We need to create an awareness about it's not only the big boys and the big players have to go into this game and conquer. No, each one of us can have the role, but we just, again, we go back to talking their language, to understand, to respect their mentality, and to deliver the message their way, not ours.
Which is how and a lot of times when you speak to mothers or youth, it's you have to have cleaner air to breathe in instead of maybe talking about some say it too complicated. Does climate change have a PR problem?
Yes,
in getting to the
it does heavily. Okay, I'll tell you our humble experience. So we've been suffering or struggling, I would say, to reach a certain type of generation, putting in mind that we are a nation, 67% is under 28 in Saudi Arabia. So we have a segment in the community that is very big, and I don't think we are communicating with them in the right way. So we tried something in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. So we upon research and data, we understood that this generation are living life virtually. They're not here with us. They don't communicate as we do. So in the International Tolerance Day, we thought of let's do something their way. So we launched our Metaverse Center. And we display all our research center. We're very much lucky to have the opportunity to build from scratch the Islamic Art Center in the Louvre Museum, and in renovating and building from scratch a big part of the Islamic Art Center in the Berlin Pergamon Museum. And we're affiliating with the Oxford Museum. So we actually did it. We put some of the objects online. We created our center, and we did a hidden object game. Okay, you know how many hits, online hits came? 2.5 billion hits. Wow. In 1 week, and I was like, what's going on? So we duplicated this, and we launched something called the first metaforest lately. We just launched it with the Scouts Foundation, which is a very interesting partner that can help a lot in the climate. And we are working with them on the SDG project in Africa and in the Middle East. So now we had this initiative, which is the first metaforest. We had almost 40,000 unique visitors. We had almost 12,000 planted trees. And I'm not sure of the visitor, not the unique, the amount of the visitor, but we witnessed and we experienced the success, and we start getting people connecting us online. They have ideas how to give more an interesting topic that's relevant to climate or to the SDGs. So this is what I'm saying. You need to go via their channels, not yours.
And not many people are doing that.
Yes, because we're stubborn. People are stubborn. So you need to be less stubborn. You need to trust them, have them on your side. Just give them deliverables, give them the tools, and they need to run with it. We cannot keep running with it because we will be old very soon. So, yeah.
And Princess Lamia, when you look at the youth, is that through education? Like, what's the right, if you talk about deliverables and making sure that they have targets and that we listen to them, does that have to be through education or, a government body? Like, what's the right way for this to go forward?
It can be diverse, because literally climate problems, it's in each and every aspect of your life. It can be included. You can have, you have it embedded in certain messages, and you can have it as a clear headline. It differs upon, the goal of your initiative. So, For example, with the Scouts Foundation, it's everything. They do it on agriculture, in universities, in building, in social services. So it's more on the not embedded, but more on the active side of the story.
Yeah.
So it's activities more than, you know, sitting in a classroom and being taught what's 1, 2, 3. No, but yet you can have it with the you know, with the smaller age, you can embed it or have it as a curriculum, but a small one. As they learn ABC, they can learn some of how to live their life in a certain way to keep this planet safe.
You seem very hopeful that the next generation will be better than us. What gives you that hope?
They bet. If not, then we were going to have a very big problem. No, I think they're excited about it, and I think it's a very cheerful aspect of the SDGs, because it's a lot of it's diversified. It's not one thing. Climate have a lot of aspects around it. So you have the agriculture, you have the recycling, you have the fuel, you have zillions of things that will lead to a better world to live in, them and their kids. So I do bet on them, because I can see how when best you open just a very small part of the door, they run. So this is a very good indication that they're interested, I hope.
Well, how will your foundation change over the next 4 to 5 years, or is it still the same 5? Of course, focus is
Actually, we were 4 areas of focus. We just introduced or integrate the 5th 2.5 years ago. So we are always evolving. That's if you want to do good really, and you want to have a sustainable and effective footprint, because put in mind, this is a legacy foundation. It's an individual, that's his legacy. So we need to make sure that it will stay for more years to come.
Yeah, we're almost out of time, but actually I would like to, and I've met people here at COP who, again, have money, who want to start a foundation, but they don't really know what to focus on, because there's a lot of things. What would be your best piece of advice of someone who's trying to make a little bit of a difference even in this world?
This is not a job. Philanthropy is not a job. It's a passion. Whenever I recruit any of my team, the first question, if you're coming to a job, let's end it now. That's not a job. That's a passion. So whoever wants to spend his money in something, he needs to discover his passion first before putting his money.
Princess Lamia, thank you so much for joining us today.